ML Sports Take brought to you by our good friends at Batavia Downs Gaming and St. Bonaventure University's online Masters in Journalism. Become a Bonnie today at sbujournalism.com. In under 2 years, you can get your grad degree in journalism at sbujournalism.com. So an ugly showing, obviously, for the Bonnies in Philly, losing to St. Joe's by double digits, 75-64. This game was tied at halftime, and honestly, it kind of felt like it wasn't, in a way, right? Because you could kind of feel some things loosening at the seams, and boy, I don't think they can hang on here. And the rebounding, they got killed again, and it was one of those games where you looked and you said, oh boy, they're going to run out of gas with these guys, right? 31 minutes, Brown, 27 Hinton, 40 and 40 from Jones and Council, 30 from Chance Moore. I know Balaga comes off the bench and gives you 6 points in 24 minutes, but it's not going to cut it in late February. It just isn't. And I don't understand the bench rotation. I haven't understood it all year. You know, there's a lot of things in this game that you don't like. I mean, they only shot 12 three-pointers, which is right in the Mike Lindsley wheelhouse, but they only made 2. It was not a good shooting game for the Bonnies. I thought that this game was kind of off compared to the last one from things that we saw. Remember, I got done with the last video and I said, I mean, does the run, I mean, if you're going to grab that lightning and you're going to stick it in the bottle and you're going to go, okay, you got to win at some point, right? Homecoming, more of the students back. I mean, they weren't that loud, but, you know, it was at least full, and there were some different things and better things, and some of those offensive plays that happened. I mentioned the one under the 12 media timeout where Brown kind of caught it, didn't know if it was a design for him not to go up or if he was too far under or what, but and then he passed to Jones and he hit a 3, and the rhythm and the timing and the tempo and kind of the control, the pace from like 14 minutes to the end of the game offensively in the second half. This game wasn't close to that. And this game is so brutal offensively. You know, Brown, they've got him, and this is another thing that really bothers me. In games that you're getting out-rebounded, why is your biggest, strongest inside player being brought out so many times from the rim, and then by the time the play goes in and you have these guys who are motioning but they don't know where they're going and they don't read the play and the rhythm is off and the timing, and your big guy's way out and a shot goes up quickly off of whatever the hell they're doing way out by the three-point line with these screens, and they've done it forever. I know, Chad Venning, Brown, they've done it with these big guys, pardon me, forever. They love doing this, but the reality is nowhere can you get 3 sneezes during a game recap, by the way. But this has been going on for a long time. The difference is, and even Oshun, but the Ironman 5 2.0, it was a little different because Oshun was such a great instinctual athlete and so quick to get back into the play and could read where guys were going to be. And this is also the NIL portal thing. And my man Dan Davidson and I, sophomore year college roommate, and I were texting a bunch again last night because we always do. But remember, these guys, even though we're in February, it's not like these guys have played together for 2-3 years. This is still the first year of this stuff. And, you know, I've heard from a lot of college basketball fans, even in Central New York, like, well, you know, by the time February gets around, like, they really start gelling. But, like, do they? Because preseason, you're practicing and then you play games together. And then, you know, when do you know tendencies? I mean, when do you know what really is going to strike or really is going to work? I don't know. I mean, maybe you have to go on a run, you know, like NC State did recently, right? I don't know. I just don't know. But these guys don't know where the other players are going to be after the next pass. It's like they're running the play, but you know, guys seem kind of lost in translation. Then by the time a shot goes up quickly, you're losing your big guy to rebound as well. I don't know, man. And Brown had 8 rebounds and 13 points. The numbers and the efficiency look fine in the box score, but boy, you watch the game and it just doesn't line up, does it? The box score and what you see for 31 minutes of play, it doesn't line up. Normally, you'd go 6 of 14, 8 rebounds, 13 points, a block, but he had 2 terrible turnovers. I don't know. The box score and the play that we watch with Brown most times just doesn't line up. It doesn't. And then the other times, the box score isn't there as well. So Offensively, this team is so challenged. There's no rhythm, timing, tempo, pace. There's no consistency there. And if you're going to score 64, I mean, you got to lock down D and hold them to 62, 63 at home with their friendly rims. I don't think so. I just don't think so. And we know the Hawk Hill, the fan base there, they're passionate. They've got their, I don't even know what it's called now. Do they call it Hawk Hill? Michael Hagan Arena 85. But, you know, Joe's had a couple of double-digit scores. I mean, it seemed like Fleming, it seemed like Fleming and Brown could do anything that they wanted. They got 14 points off the bench. Simpson had a fairly decent game. He was hustling all over the place. And again, the rebound advantage was 41-31 in advantage of in favor of St. Joe's. And, when the Bonnies got killed on the boards against Duquesne, they were able to get points in the paint, a lot of the low stat sheet numbers, fast break points. They had a couple of things that countered that. But in this game, and it's amazing too, isn't it? Bonaventure, you lose by 11 points and you only had 5 turnovers. I tell you what, Bonaventure plays a weird brand of basketball. I mean, I think that's maybe where I'm at as we have a few days left in February. It's just a weird team. It's a weird team. It's a weird season. It's a weird makeup. I mean, the beginning of the year and the run and beating inferior teams, and now how much of the winning does it have to do with, the bad teams? How much of the losing has to do with playing better teams? When they win, sometimes you don't know how. When they lose, sometimes they should have won. The box score looks sometimes nothing like what you saw. Although in this case, their shooting was so piss poor from 3 and really from the court regulation from field goals that I guess 64 points does make sense. Clearly, they were out of gas in this one. I'm assuming they're taking buses to these games still. I mean, these 8-9 hour rides, whatever the hell they are. I can't imagine that's good for the body. I mean, I feel like garbage when I wake up every morning, so I can't imagine taking like a 7-8 hour trip to Philadelphia and then trying to get your legs going and all that. I mean, I'm assuming this, right? They're not busing to Buffalo and flying to Philly, right? Because by the time you pack up, you bus to Buffalo and take a quick flight, the amount of chunk time to do all of that equals probably 7 hours on a bus, right? I assume that they're still busing to these games. I mean, I suppose I could ask, but I'm not going to get a response. I don't know. This was killer. 7 offensive rebounds. That was killer as well. In a game where you don't have a lot, it looked like the starting guys, not a ton of energy there. I mean, Chance Moore is 6'6", 205 pounds. He had 1 rebound. I mean, you can't have that. I'll tell you right now, you can't have that at all. Council, I think, is doing everything he can out there. I mean, 8 for 17, 8 rebounds, and 18 points. He looked tired. He played a full 40. I mean, about 28 minutes into this game, he looked gassed. 7 offensive rebounds when you're gassed, what I was getting at, when you're gassed like this, couple tip balls, couple second chance points to get you some extras, right? Because those are big, especially this time of year, right? You want to create more points for yourself, more opportunities off the offensive boards and limit them, right? If it's one and done a couple times down here, you get a couple extras. You get some 2 and dones, and hopefully the done is a field goal at some points. So this was, it's just been a wacky year. I don't know what to say anymore. I really don't. A couple more games left, I guess. I mean, we're slowly crawling to the end of the year. This was a 15-3 basketball team. Remember? Back on Wednesday, January 5th. This was 15-3 basketball team after beating Richmond. This was a 14-1 basketball team on January 4th. And since then, 14-1 has turned into 19-10. They've lost 9 of, what would that be? Quick math. You're playing 14-1. You're 19-10, 29 games. 15-29 is 14 games. So you've lost 9 of those 14. And, you know, it is what it is. Conference play at home, on the road. Not much of a home court advantage anymore. Weird team, weird dynamic, weird makeup. Not a lot of consistency, rhythm, timing. The season kind of, I mean, you know, you go when you're 14-1, you go loss, loss, win, loss, 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 win, win, loss, 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 win, win, loss. How will they finish? I don't know. I still think if I have to pin, it's never about one game, but if you ever have to look back and say turning point this way, turning point that way, I'm still looking at that LaSalle game. I'm still looking at that LaSalle game at home. You know, the way they lost that game, the OT, the way the bank shot went in, you know, I'm still looking at it kind of like that. Because you go through 3-game losing streaks in a season. You go through, I mean, at Duquesne, Mason at home, and at VCU, losing those 3 games in the dog days of late January, you can kind of be like looking back now going, okay. I mean, teams do that. I've seen national champions do that in the ACC. You know, I mean, growing up in the Big East world, and then when the Big East expanded it, you know, I'm talking old Big East, old Big East, and old Big East. I mean, I saw teams do that. You saw teams lose 3 in a row. I mean, you know, you saw it happen. You know, I mean, it happened all the time. It happens. So Bonaventure losing those 3 games is kind of like, all right, you know, like, that's fine. You know, you're gonna lose games. We know that. And when you get into those big conference testers and all that, then it happens. I'm just out of curiosity. Well, I guess the 02-03 Syracuse team didn't really do that. They would lose a game, win a couple, lost one, won 3, lost one, won like 8-9 in a row, lost 1. But they're out there. I mean, Final Four teams, national championship, they've lost games in a row. I mean, they just have. So, anyway, play out the regular season. Get to the conference tournament and see if that bottle's there and see if lightning goes in it. Mike Lindsley here, ML Sports Take, Batavia Downs Gaming, Western OTB, and Stumbling Monkey Brewing Company, bringing it to you. Hey, be sure to like and subscribe to my channel. Like all the videos, I should say, and subscribe to my channel. Thanks to everybody, by the way, who shared, liked, and was watching that Stephanie White interview. If you didn't get a chance to, pretty great conversation with the WNBA Indiana Fever head women's basketball coach. We talked about coaching Caitlin Clark. We talked about Steph's great career at Purdue, a preview of the Fever, a preview of the upcoming WNBA season, women's basketball on a heater, and it was just a great conversation. So go check that out on my YouTube page. Subscribe and like all the videos, including this one. And as I always tell you, enjoy the games.